Okay, this is lesson 4-2. We're working with slope-intercept form of a linear equation, y equals mx plus b. And we're not so much focused about graphing that equation here. We're working on writing the equation, giving just information in a situation. You don't know what the equation is, but you have to write one based on given information. So write an equation in the given the slope and a point on the line. And remember our slope-intercept equation is y equals mx plus b, where m, the number in front of x, is our slope of our line, and b is our y-intercept, okay? So for all of these examples, there's basically, I'll say 3 steps, right? And how easy and quick solving is depends on what information you're given. But those 3 steps are, number 1, find the slope. Find slope, right? And remember, the slope formula is y minus y over x minus x. But in some cases, they'll tell you what the slope is, right? So we're starting off with our equation, y equals mx plus b. First thing we want to do is find m. That's step 1, find the slope. And replace it in this equation. Well, here it tells us that our slope is 3. So I don't have to do any math for this step because it just told me what the slope was. So I'm going to have y equals 3x plus b. Okay, but the problem is I'm not done. I can't write a slope-intercept equation if I still have the letter b in it. The only letters I'm allowed to have in a slope-intercept equation are y and x. Everything else has to be numbers, right? So I'm not done. I still have to find b. So step 2 is to find b, to find the y-intercept, or b. Okay, so I've got y equals 3x plus b. What else do I have? What else has it told me? It tells me that when I graph my line's gonna go through the point -4, 2. That point is on my line, meaning this point is a solution to the equation that I'm writing. So I'm gonna come up with an equation. There's gonna be a number here. I don't know what it is yet. And once I get that number, I'll have my equation. If I plug in a -4 for x and a 2 for y, this whole equation will be true. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to plug in this x value and this y value here and here to solve for b. So I'm going to have 2 equals 3 times -4, that's my x value, plus b. Right? And now I can get everything on one side of my equal sign and solve for b. So 3 times -4 is -12. To get b by itself, I have to add 12. Get rid of this. 14 equals b. So there's my b value. So the most important step here is step 3, to rewrite the equation with b in it. I can't tell you, I've taught algebra and geometry for years and years and years, and this is one of the most common mistakes I see made, is that kids start using these steps, and you get to this point right here, and you're done and you move on. But you have not done what the directions said. It said to write an equation in slope-intercept form. To write an equation in slope-intercept, you need a number here and a number here. So we're not done yet. So we have this equation. Now we know what b is, so we've got to put them together. Y equals 3x plus 14. Now we're done. Now we have an m, now we have a b, so we're finished. Okay, so like I said, sometimes you always follow these 3 steps. Sometimes it'll tell you in the directions, write in a slope-intercept form equation for a line with a slope of 3 and a y-intercept of 4. And then you literally don't have to do any math. You're just plugging in a 3 here and a 4 here and put them both together and you're done. Sometimes it doesn't give you anything. It'll just give you a couple points on the line and you have to do all the math yourself. So these 3 steps never change, but the amount of work you're doing in each 3 steps does. So I'll show you what I mean by the workload getting a little tougher. So same steps, same exact steps. Step 1, find the slope. Here it gave us the slope. In this next example, it does not give us the slope. Find slope. In this example, instead of telling us the slope and 1 point on the line, it just gives me 2 points on my line. if I were to graph my line, it's going to cross through these 2 points. So first thing I need to do is find the slope between these 2 points. And remember, slope is y minus y over x minus x. So my y values are 2 and negative 2. Oops, sorry. So I'm going to say negative 2 minus 2 over, since I started with negative 2 on top, I have to start with the 3 on the bottom, 3 minus 1. And then simplify, negative 4 over 2. And then that, of course, can simplify to negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. So step 1, y equals negative 2x plus b. Okay, then step 2, now I gotta find b. It's the same step. I gotta find my y-intercept. I have this much, I still need this guy, right? So in this example, I just took the point that it gave me up here. That's an x and a y, so I plugged this number in for x, this number in for y, I was done. What do I do here? It gives me 2 points. Literally do the same thing. All you need is 1 point. So when it gives you more than 1 point, you just pick one. And it does not matter which one you use, you will get the same answer either way. So I'm gonna use this guy. You could have used the other one, doesn't matter. I'm gonna use this one. All right, so I'm gonna say find b, find my y-intercept. All right, so I've got my equation, y equals negative 2x plus b. And I'm using x is 1, y is 2. So I'm gonna plug that in here. 2 equals negative 2 times 1 plus b. And then I just have to finish it, solve for b. 2 equals negative 2 plus b, add 2 on both sides of my equal sign. b equals 4. Okay, so step 3, I put it all together, my equation in step 1, my b from step 2, and I get y equals negative 2x plus 4. Done. This is my slope I got. This is my y-intercept that I got. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So always, 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 you use the same 3 steps. If it gives you m or b, then you don't have to do any math. If it doesn't, then you got to do a bunch of math. But the steps don't change. Okay, so here's our 3 graphs. We have to write an equation of each line in slope-intercept form. And if you notice, it tells you the slope of each line here. So that already eliminates step 1 for us. Step 1 done, right? So here, we start off with y equals mx plus b. It gives us m. So step 1 done. Y equals 2x plus b. For this guy, we get y equals negative 2x plus b. For this last guy, y equals 1/2 x plus b. And then step 2 is to find b, right? So I have to plug in an x and a y, solve for b, and then rewrite my equation. Here, there's an x and a y. When x is 3, y is 5. So 5 equals 2 times 3 plus b. For this guy here, I have this point on the line, 0, 0. So 0 equals negative 2 times 0 plus b. And for this last equation, or this last line graph, I get 2, 4. When x is 2, y is 4. 4 equals 1/2 times 2 plus b. So all I'm doing is solving for b and then finishing it out with step 3, which is to put it all together. So here to solve for b, 2 times 3 is 6. If I subtract 6 from both sides, I get negative 1 equals b. So I can rewrite my equation. Y equals 2x plus negative 1, so just minus 1. This is my equation of my graph. Okay, next one. Negative 2 times 0 is just 0. So I get b equals 0. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. Y equals negative 2x, and I'm not even going to put plus 0, just nothing, right? B is 0, so I don't even write it. My equation is just y equals negative 2x, and I'm done. And then number 3, 1/2 times 2 is just 1. So if I subtract 1 from both sides, I get 3 equals b. So if I rewrite this top equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 3. All right, I hope that's making sense. And then we have a little bit of math to do here. Our steps are always the same, 1, 2, 3 steps. Step 1, find the slope. In all of these problems, it gives us the slope. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals, this has a slope of -3/4 x plus b. Here, y equals, the slope is 5. So 5x plus b. If it's like super dark on your camera, it's like really dark here in my house because of the weather, so sorry. If it's dark for you guys, I can't really tell. And then lastly, step 1, y equals, the slope is 0. So 0x plus b. And that seems kind of funny, but we'll still use it. We still have to figure out what b is, so we do need to go ahead and still do this step, right? I should have written that in red. Oops. Okay, then for each of these, step 2 is to find b, right? I have an x and a y, I don't know b, so I'm gonna plug the first number in for x, the second number in for y, solve for b. So 2 equals -3/4 times 8 plus b. -3, now remember when we multiply fractions, you multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So 2 equals -24/4 plus b. -24 divided by 4 is -6. So this is 2 equals -6 plus b. And if I add 6 to both sides here to cancel out this -6, I get 8 equals b. So step 3 is to put it all together, step 1 and step 2. And I'm going to have y equals -3/4 x plus 8. That's my equation. Okay, the second guy here. Step 2, I have the slope. Now I have to find b, so I'm going to plug in x and y to my equation. -3 equals 5 times -1 plus b. 5 times -1 is -5. And then I have to, of course, add 5 on both sides of my equal sign, so I get b equals 2. So step 3 is to put it all together. Steps 1 and 2, y equals 5x plus 2. M is 5, b is 2. And last but not least, we got the slope from step 1. Step 2, we got to find b, so I'm going to plug in x and y. 4 equals 0 times -5 plus b. -5 times 0 is 0, so 4 equals 0 plus b, or b equals 4, right? So in step 3, when I put it all together, y equals 0x plus 4. And of course, if my slope is always 0, it's always going to cancel x out. So it's just going to be y equals 4. And yes, that is possible. No, it's not a solution. It is an equation. If you were to graph this, it would be a specific type of graph, and we'll get into that later with the exceptions. But yes, this is correct. It is okay to end up like this sometimes. So hopefully the whole 3 steps are starting to sink in. Step 1, fill in the slope to y equals mx plus b. Step 2, find b in y equals mx plus b. And step 3 is just to put the first 2 steps together. Write your equation. Almost done. All right, for 7, 8, and 9, we need to write an equation of each graph. We don't know the information, it doesn't tell us y-intercept or slope or whatever, it just gives us 2 points on the line. But when it's a graph, you don't have to do all the math. You can still look for the y-intercept and count the slope, right? So I have y equals mx plus b. I'm trying to fill in m and b. Where's my y-intercept? At -3. So y equals mx minus 3. And what's my slope? If I start here and get to here, I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So up 4 over 1 is 4 over 1x minus 3, right? Or if I wrote it completely simplified, y equals 4x minus 3. That's my equation of this graph. My slope is 4. I'm going up 1 over 4. and my y-intercept is down here at -3. I had to go down below the origin. Okay, same thing with these two. Don't make it more work than you have to. Just because on the graph it only shows you what 2 of the points on the line are, you still don't have to go through the slope formula and plugging it into an equation and all that stuff. You can just look at the graph and tell what's the y-intercept, what's the slope. So y equals mx plus b. My slope here, my b, is 1, 2, 3, 4. So y equals mx plus 4. And what's my slope? Well, to get from this dot to this dot, I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4. So down 4 over 4. And can I simplify that at all? Yes, absolutely. -4 over 4 is just -1, right? So y equals -1x, or negative x, plus 4. That's my equation of my line. Number 9, find the y-intercept and the slope, right? So here my y-intercept is +1. So I've got y equals mx plus b. b is +1. And what's my slope? Well, I'm looking at my line. I'm always reading it from left to right. To get from this dot to this dot, going to the right, I have to go up 1 over 3. 1 over 3. So my slope is 1 over 3. And can I simplify that at all? Nope, it's already simplified. No simplification needed. So we're done there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now we got 3 long, hard, tedious problems, right? Same 3 steps. Find the slope, find the y-intercept, put them together to write an equation. But here it doesn't give us either part. We have to find it mathematically. So step 1, find the slope. What's the slope here? Remember, slope is y minus y over x minus x. So I'm going to do 6 minus -10 over, and since I started with 6 on top, I'm going to start with its partner first on the bottom, 1 minus 7. Oh, sorry, -1 minus 7. Okay, and of course, on top, when I have minus and negative, that's really a plus. So I get 16 over -1 minus 7 is -8. And 16 divided by -8 is -2. So my slope is -2. So I'm going to have y equals -2x plus b. Right? Step 2, find out what b is. Okay, so I have 2 sets of x's and y's here. I just need to pick one. I'm going to use the first set because the numbers are a little bit smaller. I feel like if I use this guy and I start multiplying and stuff, the numbers are going to get big. The answer will end up being the same, but to get to the answer, I'm going to be dealing with bigger numbers. So I'm going to use -1 and 6. When x is -1, y is 6. 6 equals -2 times -1 plus b. I'm starting with this equation I just got, and I'm plugging in x and y. 6 equals +2 plus b, and I got to get b by itself. 4 equals b. Okay, so now I know what m is, and I started to write my equation, but I don't know b. Then I figured out what b was. So step 3, I got to put it all together. Y equals -2x plus 4. This guy to this guy to this guy. That's my final answer. That's what all 3 steps are for every problem, okay? Next one here. First I have to find the slope. So I'm going to do y minus y. I'm going to do 7 minus 2. Since I started with 7 on top, I have to start with its partner on the bottom, 1 minus 0. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 0 is 1, so my slope is 5. So I'm going to have y equals 5x plus b. Step 2, I got to figure out what b is now. So I got to plug something in for x and y to solve for b. Do I have an x and a y? Yeah, I got 2 sets of them up here. I only need 1. So I'm going to use 0, 2. When x is 0, y is 2. So 2 equals 5 times 0 plus b. 5 times 0 is just 0. So here b equals 2. So step 3, now I got to put it all together. I had y equals 5x plus b. Now I know b is 2. So my final equation is y equals 5x plus 2. I put these guys together to get this guy. Make sense? And last one, last but not least, almost done. First, I have to find the slope. Always step 1. So I'm going to do negative 25 minus 3 over, since I started with negative 25 on top, I got to start with its partner first on the bottom. 6 minus negative 1 is really 6 plus 1. Negative 25 minus 3 is negative 28. 6 plus 1 is 7. Negative 28 divided by 7 is negative 4. So my equation will be y equals negative 4x plus b. In step 2, I got to find b. So I need to plug something in for x and y. I got 2 sets of x's and y's up here. This guy kind of terrifies me. I don't really want to work with that big old number. So I'm going to use negative 1 and 3. Doesn't matter which ordered pair you use, you will get the same answer for b no matter what. So when x is negative 1, y is 3. 3 equals negative 4 times negative 1 plus b. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then I have to get rid of 4 to get b by itself. So b equals negative 1. And then, of course, step 3, I got to put them both together. So I'll have y equals negative 4x plus negative 1, which simplifies to y equals negative 4x minus 1. So I had this top equation, then I found b, and now I'm done. Put them together, right? Hopefully that's making sense. Let me know if you have questions.